So today we are going to talk about numerical integration, and on agenda I am going to talk about midpoint formulation method. I'm going to talk about how to write the flowchart for that. We are going to see something called lists in Python, and then finally we will see how to write the final program. So this is what we are going to do. There is one more method which is trapezoidal method, for which the instructions are given in the sheet. You all can use the sheet to do that method on your own. So let's go ahead. So now what is integration? If you look at this graph from here, we will try to understand what is integration. So suppose if you have a function f of x, then integration of f of x from a to b can be shown in this graph. So the function is plotted on y-axis. It is shown in this red line, some arbitrary function. Now a is the initial limit here and b is some final limit on this side. So we want to find out the area. When you calculate the integration, you are actually find the area between the curve and the x-axis. That means this area is to be calculated. Now to calculate this area, what the midpoint formulation does is it divides this entire region on x-axis from A to B into n number of small intervals. Now in this diagram, n is 6. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It divides into n 6 small intervals or n number of small intervals, and it tries to find the area of each interval. So you find the area of first one, second one, third one, so on and so forth, and then you add all the areas. Now if you look at it carefully, area of a rectangle is simply its multiplication of two sides. So here this side I call it base and this side I call it height. The area of rectangle is base into height. So now what is the base distance from here to here? So you can see that if you know the distance between A and B, if you know this total distance, and if you know in how many intervals you are dividing, then width of one rectangle would be this total distance divided by total number of strips. So the area of rectangle, first rectangle will be this height into this width. Now the question is, what is this height? So this height we will measure at the midpoint of the strip. So if I take this strip, I will find out its midpoint and then measure the height. The value of the function here will give me the height of this strip. Similarly, when I go to the next strip, I will find the midpoint of this strip first, then value of the function at the midpoint will give me the height of the second strip. The value of the function at the midpoint will give me the height of the second strip. Similarly, at the third, I first calculate the midpoint, then the value of the function at the midpoint will give me the height of the third strip. So in this way I can calculate height of all the strips. So I know the width of the strips, I know the height of the strips. So once I know these two parameters, I can multiply the two parameters and I can get the area of each strip. So here area of each rectangle is nothing but the width of the ith strip. So how to get the width of the ith strip? It is x I plus 1 minus xi. So if you take any, say, x, suppose I'm looking at this strip, so width of this strip is x3 minus x2. Or if you're looking at this strip, then the width is x5 minus x4. So this first term here in the formula gives the base width or width of the strips. The second part of the formula, if you look at the argument here, this is the midpoint, 0.5. 0.5 is divided by 2, and xi plus 1 minus xi upon 2. So this gives the midpoint, and this is the f of the midpoint will give you the value of the function at the midpoint. So this second part in the formula gives the height of the rectangle. First part, as we have discussed, as we have seen, it gives the width of the rectangle, the base of the rectangle. Product of the two will give me the area of each rectangle. This is the area of each rectangle. Then I take, when I find out, if you have to find out the area from here to here, you have to take the summation over all the rectangles. So this formula needs to be summed over all the rectangles. Please note a correction. This term should be plus and not minus, as it is here. It is written correctly. There is some mistake here. So here xi plus 1 plus f of xi upon 2, you find the function height. You find the height of the rectangle by this part. You find the width of the rectangle by this part. You multiply, and then you take a sum. Yeah, students, please make a note that formula here is a plus, and here f should not be there. It is xi plus 1 plus xi divided by 2. Here also f should not be there. Although the value of the function keeps changing, that is, height of the function keeps changing at interval, at different point, height is different, the width is going to be same at all the points. So since width is going to be same at all the points, the width part, which we normally call as delta x, or in our program we will call it as dx, can be taken out. So we can multiply as a, this will going to remain same for all the strips. So please make a note for that. So how many calculations you need to do in order to do this, calculate this integral? So let me revise it once again. First calculation is you have to calculate dx, that is width of each strip. That is the first calculation that you need to do. Then second calculation you need to do is to find out the midpoint of all the strips. So you have to know, you should know what is this point, what is this coordinate, you should know what is this coordinate, you should know what is this coordinate, so on and so forth. So that is the second calculation you will need. Then third calculation you will need is to find out the area of each strip. So you will need a third calculation, that is a multiplication, to calculate the area of each strip. Then you have to add all the areas together. Since you have to add all the areas together, you have to run a summation. That is the fourth calculation you will need. So at this, up till this point, if you students, if you have any questions, please ask. There are three corrections. If you are noting, please note down things. This should be plus. This is xi plus xi divided by 2. That divided by 2 is written as 0.5.
0.5.
Yeah. Then same thing here. Xi plus 1 plus xi divided by 2. And the same thing here. Before I proceed, please have a look here. That when you calculate area by this method, you will find that some of the areas are not calculated, like here, this corner, or maybe some extra areas are added somewhere, like this corner. Now, it is not that these will cancel out or compensate for each other always. For example, here the left out area is much more, while the extra area taken is less. So the accuracy of this technique will depend, will increase many folds if you increase the number of strips. If you have larger number of strips, you will calculate the area more precisely. But remember, larger number of strips requires large number of calculations, and that makes your running of the programs more challenging to your system. So it's a really a take and give and take arrangement, that what accuracy you want and how many strips you want to, in how many number of strips you want to divide so that program can run smoothly. Now for small programs, what we are going to practice, largely it will not matter, but please take this care in your mind. Also the trapezoidal rule, which is there in your sheets, which is a similar rule, which takes will give you slightly better accuracy than this midpoint point formulation. So you people can check that on your own. Okay, so let's have a look now. Here I have drawn an axis where this is my starting of the integral, that is a. So x is equal to a is here. Okay, now diagram is little crude, so please pay attention. X is equal to a is here. This is my first strip ends. So where the first strip ends, the coordinate of the point will be a plus dx. Width of the strip is dx I have taken. So it is a plus dx. Then the next strip ends here. So one more dx will go in this distance. So this coordinate will be a plus 2 dx. Then one more strip will go. The next coordinate is a plus 3 dx. Now these are the midpoints. So the first strip's midpoint, I would call it as mid 1. Second strip's midpoint, I will call it as mid 2. Third strip's midpoint, I would call it as mid 3, and so on and so forth. So what will be the mid 1? What will be this coordinate? That's the key question. So if I have this coordinate and if I have this coordinate, so this coordinate will be an average of the two, a and a plus dx. Just imagine, if this is 10, if a is 10 and if this is 12, then what will be the middle value? So you can see the middle value will be, if this is 10 and this is 12, then the mid value will be 11. So which is nothing but 10 plus 12 divided by 2, 11. Similarly, average of these two will give me the mid value here, and so on. So what is the mid 1 coordinate? So it's the average of a and a plus dx. So I can write a plus dx plus a divided by 2. Now when you solve it, a comes 2 times. You will write 2a plus dx by 2. Similarly, what is the mid 2? So mid 2 is the average of these two. So I can write a plus dx plus a plus 2 dx divided by 2. So I can write a plus dx plus a plus 2 dx divided by 2. Then now here a again comes 2 times, but this is 2 dx and this is dx. This becomes 2a plus 3 dx by 2. Then mid 3 will be the average of these two. So if you take the average of these two, then a plus 2 dx is the first point, a plus 3 dx is the next point. If you add the 2 points together, you get 2a, and this is 3 dx and this is 2 dx. That will give you 5 dx. This is 2a plus 5 dx by 2. So now if you can look at it, the first midpoint For the first interval, the midpoint is 2a plus dx by 2. Second midpoint, 2a plus 3 dx by 2. Third midpoint, 2a plus 5 dx midpoint, 5 dx by 2. You can see that if you extrapolate, the next midpoint will be 2a plus 7 dx by 2, 2a plus 9 dx by 2, so on and so forth. So I can now write a very general formula that midpoint in the ith interval, mid I, can be written as, you can see 2a and 2 are common. So 2a and 2 are common, and I can write index 2i plus 1 here. So when you put values, now remember in our
So shouldn't it be -1?
no. When you it can be -1. When we write the loop, the way I have written the program, I start the value of I from 0 to n minus 1.
So the mid-I formula is the general formula you have given, right?
Yeah, so this could be a general formula. Whichever program you are writing, you can use the same formulation for that. So when I starts from 0, this will be first will be 2a plus dx by 2. When you put I is equal to 1, it will be 3 dx. When you put I is equal to 2, it will become 5 dx, so on
So
and so forth.
so they are not giving the values actually. For mid one, it is giving 3 dx, mid 2 5 dx. It is giving the next value. It should be 2
Yeah.
bracket I minus 1.
No. See, the point is, don't go on the sheet right now because I made some changes. So I have written the program which I'm going to show you now, that takes value from value from 0 to n minus 1.
Okay. So
Yeah, so for that I have writing. You can always modify it. If you're writing it your program for 1 to n, then you can always put a minus here and solve. There is no issue. So what I am illustrating is one way of solving. There can be more than one way of solving the same things, and you have a freedom to explore those ideas as well. So anyone has any more questions on the midpoint calculation? Okay. Since nobody is asking, you can ask even later also, but we can go ahead at this point onward. So here is a general flowchart of the program. So I will strongly recommend that you practice writing flowchart. So I will strongly recommend that you people practice writing flowchart for the your programs. So let's have a look at the flowchart here. The first is the start symbol. Start symbol looks somewhat like this, a hybrid of a trapezoid and oval. Uh, every symbol has different meaning. This is a parallelogram, this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle box, this is a diamond. So you can just Google and get the chart. Different symbols have different meaning. So generally the start and end are limiters of the programs, two limits. So they are represented in this way. So these are the start and end. Then next stage of the program is you have to set the values of your initial limit, which is A, your final limit, which is B, and the number of strips in which you are dividing dividing your interval, that is n. So in this program, the program that I am going to demonstrate, I have fixed these values, but these values can be given by the user at the time of entering. So they form the input part. That is why they are in parallelogram here. You set your initial, final, and number of intervals. Then you do some initial calculations. So first is from this you can calculate your dx. So dx will be simply b minus a divided by n. So width of each interval can be obtained from these three. Then you need one variable to store the area of the integration. You can call this as give some name like integration or sum or something like that. So you can use that. And you need an index which will keep the count of the number of strips added. So that can be I, and you can initially both of them to 0. Once you have set these parameters, you can go for the calculation part. So first you can use the midpoint formula to calculate the ith midpoint, which is here. Once the midpoint has been calculated, you can find the value of the function at the midpoint. The value of the function at the midpoint can be calculated. Then area of the ith strip can be calculated by multiplying the midpoint, which is the multiplying the f of midpoint, which is the height of the rectangle, and your base, or that is width of the rectangle. So you can multiply these two things and get the area, and then you use your summation index, which is sum is equal to sum plus area. So you, whatever has been added so far in your sum index, you add the area of the next strip and again assign back to the sum. Then you increment your strip, you go from I to I plus 1, and then you ask this question that have you reached to the last strip, that is if I has reached to n or not. So you can see in my formulation I am doing from I is equal to 0 to I less than n. That is, it will ask this question until I is less than n. Moment I is equal to n, it will break. So if I is less than n, and if the answer is yes to that, then it will go back and repeat all these steps once again. It will keep repeating for number of times until I reaches, gets incremented every time, and until I reaches and I becomes equal to n. When I is equal to n, then answer to this question is no, and the loop will break down, and then you can print the sum here, and then you can end the program. So this is a basic flowchart of the entire process. So I'm going to solve first integral at least. Second, maybe if the time is there, we can. But the first integral, I'm going to show how to do this. I'm going to show you how to use lists in Python. So let's look at this first line of the code here, which I am writing. So this writes a is equal to, in square brackets, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. So this actually declares a list. So let me show you. This actually declares a list. So if I write a print, and this is a is equal to, and if I put this variable a here, then it will print this list as it is. So I will run the program, and you can see here that the first line that it has printed the output. So this type of variables can be used to store various values. In Python, they are called as list or lists. How do you declare an empty list? So here is the way to declare the empty list. So if you write b is equal to square brackets but nothing inside, then it will declare an empty list b. So if I print this line, so you can see that an empty list here is printed. So you can now see that if b is equal to simply a square bracket, and if you write print b, then what it will do, it will print the second line, which says b is just a blank list, nothing is there. Then you can add elements to b by using this append function. So for example, you can write, the method of writing is b dot append, then there is a bracket, and then whatever number you want to add to the list, you can append here. This number is appended at the last element in the list. So if you now print B, you will see that the B is printed as 5. 5 has come in the list. One element has come in the list. You can add a number directly, or you can add a number in a different way also. So for example, I can say X is equal to 6, and then I say B dot append X. So remember, here I am appending number 5, but here I am using a variable X to append the list. So B dot append X, I can append the list by using the variable. So you can now see that if I print B once again in this line, it will print 5 and 6. So 6, one more number will be appended towards the end of the list. So now it is a 2-member list. And you can use a formula also, some other, I'm just giving you a random, X star star 2. Star star is for squaring. So this is X square plus 6. So when you put this into Y, when you append B by Y, then you will find that X was 6, X square is 36 plus 6, that is 42. So one more number is appended here. So this way the B will go on increasing in number. So you can add as many storage as possible. So for our work right now, only this much skill is needed. You can do a lot of things with lists, but I think that can be covered later. So if anyone has a query or doubt on this, please ask me first.
So can we remove values from lists?
You can remove the value for the list from the list. You can use some pop function or something like that, so that you figure it out. You can do a lot of things. You can find the length of the list, or you can do some more indexing, like finding the midpoint, maximum, minimum. You can do all. Let me show you my program for the this first integral. So it is integral from 1 to 5 x dx. So please note that here my a value is 1, b value is 5, and my function itself is x. So f of x is equal to x. Okay. Now this is a very simple integration. You can solve it analytically. The integration of x dx is x square upon 2. So do remember the function is linear, but its integration is parabolic. It is second order x square. And you can put the values here. If you do it analytically, the answer will come as 12. So we will now do this one using numerical integration. So I have written the program, but the program requires more things, so I will go through it. Please listen to me carefully. We will do this matplotlib and numpy for plotting the function. So this we have used earlier also. Although I don't think I'm using numpy in this program. Then these are my initial and final limits. A is equal to 1 is my initial limit. B is equal to 5 is my final limit. Then n is my number of intervals. I have taken 50 intervals. You can reduce the number of intervals, say to 5 or 7, and you can increase the number of intervals and see how it responds. Since it's a linear function, I will ask you later, but since it's a linear function, it will not affect much that what is the number of interval that you are taking. Then this is line calculates dx. So dx is b minus a divided by n. Then integration, this is my summing variable. What in flowchart I have shown you as sum. So this is my summing variable integration. So this will store the sum of the areas. I have set it to 0. this is my index variable, which I have set to 0. Now, apart from this, I am declaring 3 lists here. So one list is storing the value of the x variable, x value of x-axis. Then the second list will store the value of the functions before integration, and nf, I may call it as new function, will store the value of the variable after integration. So I will call it nf. All the 3 lists are blank lists, and I will append these lists in my program as we go ahead. Okay, so here is my loop, simple loop. I'm using a while loop. While I is less than n, so you can notice that I'm starting from I is equal to 0, and I will end at I is equal to n minus 1, because when I is equal to n, the loop will break down. So first I will calculate my midpoint. So I'm using the midpoint formula to calculate. So here is my midpoint formula, and I calculate my midpoint for coordinates of the midpoint for each interval, and I append my x list. By every time I calculate my midpoint, I append my x list. Every time I calculate my midpoint, I also append my f list, function list. Now, please be careful here that remember we are using a linear function. So f of x is equal to x. So once you have calculated midpoint as x, you can use the same value to append your f also, because the value of x is same as value of f. Then I can calculate my integration. So here, this part, midpoint plus midpoint into dx. So midpoint, remember, is the height of the rectangle. Dx is the width of the rectangle. I multiply the two to get the area of the rectangle. Now this area is added to the previous area. When the loop begins in the beginning, the previous area is set to 0, and then it keeps adding, keeps adding. So this is my summing variable, which is now building up. And as I integrate, I create my new value. I can append my new function list also. So new function list is appended in this. And then I increment my I once again. So this loop will keep repeating number of times. Every time it will increase I by 1. Again go up, calculate midpoint. Then calculate midpoint. Then it will append the x parameter, append f parameter. Then calculate the area, add to the previous area, calculate the new function parameter, increase I once again, go up, and keep repeating this number of times until you hit the end of the loop where I is equal to n. When I becomes equal to n, then this condition will break down and you go to the out of the loop, and there the integrated values can be printed as integration here. So this takes care of your integrated values. Then here you are already familiar with the plotting. I am simply, last few lines are for plotting the functions. So here I am plotting the x. So we can use plt.plot x and f. So x will be printed on x-axis, f will be printed on y-axis. You can put labels. So this is my old function and this is my new functions. So I can print both of them. Now if I run the program, what you get is something like this. So you can first see the integrated value comes out to be 12. So the integrated value is 12, and you can see that these are my two functions, two graphs. The straight line graph, I've remember the origin is not 0, 0. The straight line, it is plotted from A to B, that is from 1 to 5. So the straight line graph is your original function f of x, which is a linear function, and your curved path is your part of that parabola or x square function. So this is the two functions that you have plotted here. Okay. So any question on this program from anyone? Okay, since no questions so far, I have a question for the students. Uh, when I explained you, I told you that there will be errors like calculation of area. Some areas will be left and some areas will be added. But still you will find that this gives me the exact value as 12, which is the equal to the analytical value. So if students can explore why that is happening, why it is giving me the exact value and not some error. So you can figure it out. Let me show you all one more program very quickly because it is on the same lines. So not much is new. This is my program, second one. The only thing that will change is initial limit instead of 1 is minus pi. Final limit is instead of 5 is pi. And instead of x, now we have cos x. So let me show you how this program will go. So we do the same thing here, normal thing, but then you have to import math as well. Please make a note because for mathematical functions you need math library. So you have to import math as well. Then you can see that I'm setting my initial limit to 3.14 and final limit to initial limit to minus 3.14, final limit to plus 3.14. I have taken n left n as 50. Uh, you can write a program where you take these values from the input, vary each time and see how it works, or you can vary like you can say 3 points, 5 point, n as 3, 5, 7, 10 and see what are your answers. So this is my initial setup. This is my calculation of dx which is done here. Again, this is my original x value. This is my function, original function. This array will store the original function. This array will store the new function. Here, instead of word integration, I'm using sum as my summing variable, which I have set at 0 in the beginning. My running index I is also 0 in the beginning. Now, I'm using, I think here it should be less than n, not equal to. So I is less than n. And then we go ahead. We first calculate the midpoint by using the midpoint formula. So this line will use the midpoint. Then I append the midpoint in the X list. Then here I'm appending, here I'm just merging the two steps. Jyoti ma'am, if you can notice, I'm appending the function by using the cos of the midpoint. So here, please make a note, I'm using the cos of the midpoint. Way to write down this is math dot cos midpoint. You have to add this math dot, which says that you are taking this function from that particular library. So math dot cos midpoint. So you are appending f, you are no longer appending f by midpoint itself, because here your function is not midpoint, your function is cos of midpoint. So f is append math dot cos midpoint, and then you can add sum here. You will find that when you are adding the sum is equal to sum plus no longer midpoint, sum plus math dot cos midpoint star dx. So here the first term gives the height and star dx you are multiplying by the width. So this will be the area of the given strip, and then you are adding it to the addition so far. Then whatever sum value you get, with that you can append the new list nf. You can increment the I, run this loop. This loop will keep running until I is less than n. Break down when I is equal to n. And then you can print the integrated values as sum. And then here are our plotting arrangements. So I can run this program. and I get the integrated value. So I will advise you to do it analytically and check how much equal is this. And also I would suggest you to figure out the ways to control the number of precision points here. You can see that it is showing you so many. How will you restrict it to say up to 8, say 0.00318 or 0.00?
The round function.
Yeah. So I would leave that you people to figure out. You can round off the values and then print. And here are my graph. You can see that I'm taking an integration of sin x. So this integration of cos x. So this is my original function here in blue, which is cos x, which is 1, maximum at x is equal to 0. And the integration is sin x, which is shifted by 90 degree than this, and at x is equal to 0, it is 0. So this shows me the two functions, that is cos x and sin x. So I can plot and see that conversion from cos x to sin x is happening. Okay, so with this I finish this also. I don't think I'm using NumPy here. NumPy is normally used to store the values. I'm using lists here to store the values. This is the last thing I have to show.